Operation Shanyela has made its way to Diepsloot, which has experienced various protests in recent weeks over rising levels of crime. 7 suspected criminals were killed in a mob attack just this month. 5 people, community members, are currently in court in connection with those murders. For more on the effectiveness of such operations, let's speak to expert Willem Els, crime expert Willem Els. Very good evening to you, Willem. Good to have your time. Let's talk about the involvement of the army in these operations, Shanyela, activities in Diepsloot this weekend. What does that signal as far as the response to the complaints about crime there?
Good evening to you. We see that the police has been busy there. We see that the trust of the community is at an all-time low towards the police because of the rampant crime. That police station ranks amongst the top 10 in Gauteng when it comes to criminality in terms of the crime statistics. So it seems that the community has now stood up. They are fed up with this crime, and there's a cry out from the community. So what happened now is that an additional force multiplier has been deployed in the form of the South African National Defence Force that will now assist the police in the crime prevention drive that they have there.
And whenever we do see military boots on the ground in South Africa, there is always the refrain that the SANDF is not to be confused with the SAPS, because even in what they can do during these operations, there's a very clear distinction in law, correct?
Of course, we are guided by our Constitution, and our Constitution is very clear on what the responsibilities of the military is, of the Defence Force, and also what the responsibilities of the South African Police Service is. So when it comes to the responsibilities of the Defence Force, these guys, they have to protect our country against foreign onslaughts and aggression. So they are being trained in conventional warfare. They are being trained to kill people in order to protect us. Some of them are also being trained in peacekeeping when they are being deployed, like in places like in the DRC under the UN, etc. So, but not all of them. So the majority of your soldiers are trained to be soldiers. They're not trained to be police officers, and also they are not being appointed as peace officers. So that means that you and me have got the same arresting powers than those military personnel that are being deployed. They can also not work autonomously. In terms of the Constitution, they have to, when their assistance is requested, it should go through Parliament, and when they have that green light, then they will have to deploy under the guidance and also under the command of the South African Police Service.
So how much of a difference then will their presence make?
In the first place, if you look at crime deterrence and crime prevention, we see that visible policing and your visible patrols is one of your recognized methods that bring down crime in the area where that presence is. So we anticipate that the presence of these soldiers along with the police will deter crime, and we believe that crime levels will go down.
But the problem also with the military deployment or the presence of the military in these operations, Willem, is that it can only be a temporary measure, right? It does not speak to the more overall policing problems, which people in Diepsloot say are a major concern, where people say you call out to the local police station and it takes forever for a van to arrive, or it's simply unsafe for those who may even want to make it on foot to the station to go and get police to take them to the scene of a robbery, a murder, etc.
Of course, we anticipate that there are serious challenges with the structures in the police in Diepsloot. South Africa adopted a model of sector policing. That's a form of community policing, where every sector in the police station is divided, or the police station area is divided into sectors, and then there's a commander for that sector, and that person is then responsible for the relationship with the community, and also to look after the needs of the community, but also to engage with the community in terms of your community policing forums, in order to engage the community with the police, in order to to address the crime situation in that specific area. And from what we see on the ground, there seems to be a complete breakdown in that structures. So that is the first place where they will have to look at the command and control of the station. Why is crime so high? Why is the crime solvency rate so low? Why is the trust of the police, of the public, so low in the police? We have to address that first, and then we have to look at a strategy on how that will be restored. You know, the police, we understand that they're undersourced. We understand that even today, after they released another 10,000 or odd thousand new police officers last week, compared to 10 years ago, we still have 25% less policemen on the ground than 10 years ago. But that is only one side of the problem. The other side of the problem is, that we had an increase in the police budget of more than 70% over that period. So why are there not resources for these policemen to do that? That is a management problem that should be seriously addressed.
And ultimately, what you are suggesting in terms of what needs to be fixed at a policing level, am I right to say it sounds more long-term than perhaps a more immediate or medium-term intervention that is needed, and where that becomes a problem for someone in Diepsloot who may be listening to you and I tonight, is that they want assurances today, they want assurances that tomorrow it'll be safe when someone knocks off at 8 p.m. and gets off a taxi to walk home, that they will not be robbed, they will not be shot, they will not be raped.
That is correct. That is why we've got this operation going. This operation should make a huge difference. This operation should be deployed for as long as possible, but it is not sustainable, as you mentioned. And while that operation is in place, we would like to see that management take positive steps to address the challenges of the police station, to engage with the community, to listen to the grievances of the community, and to rectify that. It should not take that much if they listen and if they start to implement. One of the challenges that the police also have, that we have to remember, we have a shortage of more than 8,000 detectives on the ground. And that is a problem, because now these people come and they report their crimes. They get a cash number, and at the end of the day, these cases are not being investigated thoroughly because of the workload and the burden on these detectives on the ground. And also, it's demoralizing for these police officers when they are so overburdened in order to continue and thoroughly investigate these cases. So what we have at the moment there, we've got a police service that is in ICU. We have to now administer the right medication in order to get them out of there. And therefore we need leadership, and sound leadership, from the provincial as well as from the national police.
Willem Els, good to speak to you as always. Thank you for your time tonight.